This is your 10th DWI. It's not your 5th. It's not your 8th. It's the 10th. I'm sorry. I'm very nervous today. I'm asking you, please do not send me back to prison. I am definitely headed in the right direction. Your last sentence was for 15 years in prison. The one before that was for 10. Another 10 year back in 09. I mean, this goes back to the 90s. The fact is, we're just lucky that you haven't killed someone in our community. I just can't do it. I'm going to sentence you to a term of...
This woman is in court today for sentencing after her 10th DUI charge. Yeah, you heard that right, 10. Her record goes all the way back to the 90s, and even after all that, she's still asking the judge not to send her to prison. She blames her childhood and trauma for everything, but at some point, those excuses just don't work anymore. Everyone in the courtroom can see she's out of chances. It's honestly shocking she's still allowed to drive after so many arrests. What do you guys think? Should she get one more shot at treatment? Or is it finally time for prison after 10 DUIs? Let's dive in.
Ma'am, are you Catherine Welch? And Ms. Welch is here with her attorney, Mr. Gertz. State's attorney is present. Ms. Welch was previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to driving while intoxicated third or more, as well as a prior offense, which made it a second-degree felony offense. There was no agreement with regard to punishment. I have received the pre-sentence report. And has everyone had an opportunity to review that report? Okay. Is everyone ready to proceed with sentencing then?
Yes, Judge.
Yes. All right. Then argument.
She sometimes it's easy to look at one side of the ledger, the rap sheet or the criminal history, and think that defines this person. What I have been fortunate enough to do is to really dig down and get to understand her as a human, and see that all the progress she's made, all the effort she's made, and see what she's done well and all the problems that she's been addressing well. She's obviously very anxious about this day, but we've been looking forward to this day as well, be able to present that. And I want to go down on the bottom of page 2, address what I was talking about the CSI. So that I'm not saying that this wasn't the words that came out of her mouth, but when she was asked by one of the examiners in the probation report, if she felt she needed treatment, she said she didn't feel like she needed treatment. She wasn't opposed either. I want to clarify what we mean by that. And I say this here, but what she would say, I think, is she did 90 days of detox rehab related treatment, has continued aftercare, has continued mental health care. But in terms of going to a program that is specifically targeted at people who are currently using or currently intoxicated, I think she thought that wasn't the direction that would be ideal. She will do whatever you want her to do, but I wanted to explain what that comment means. Additionally, we've been in contact with her current parole officer. They are willing to keep her on parole instead of revoking her, depending on what the court does here. And so that was encouraging as well. I think we've had the same kinds of conversations with them about her recovery and about her efforts. And so I think that was an encouraging sign from them. And then finally, Judge, you see, we didn't want to focus too much on support from the community because, again, this isn't just a run-of-the-mill case. This is a different focus. But, she is married. She has a family. She has recognizes the impact that all of this has had on her family and her relationships, the strain it has put on her husband, both financially and also emotionally. And she accepts responsibility for that.
Anything else?
Would you like to say something?
Your Honor, I just want to say that the past was fueled by drugs and alcohol. I take complete responsibility for that. I did not know from very young when things happened in my life that it could have been, some of it could have been treated, stopped earlier if I had gotten help for my mental health. That after I received this DWI, that helped me get myself to a place that I could go into a treatment program and deal with some of those past traumas. In the past, I didn't. I medicated and drank to just forget about the pain, just numb myself out. I didn't know how else to deal with that until when I got on my mental health meds, and I have bipolar, I have PTSD, and my mind back then was very chaotic. And I just want to say, after I had my mental health meds, I was able to go through treatment at Santa Maria in Houston, and that place really saved my life. I did extensive 90-day treatments with trauma counselors. It was a trauma informed community there. And also, when I completed that, I worked an outpatient program, but I still lived on their facility. I went to the sex trafficking and recovery program, and I was in that for about 8 months, where I got the state paid for the counseling for trauma still. And I just worked really hard in that. I got a job while I was in there. And then once that program was over, I moved to a sober living facility, an Oxford House in Spring, and I worked there. And so I felt like I was strong enough to come home and do what I needed to do. And I was in the complete program for right out of here. And I'm sorry, I'm very nervous today. And I know that my past record is, like Brian said, atrocious.
Honestly, she doesn't seem like the worst person we've ever seen in court. But 10 DUIs? That's not an accident.
That's a lifestyle.
At this point, it's a pattern that should have been stopped years ago. The crazy part is how often the system gives out breaks. She probably thought she could just keep getting away with it. And that's the problem too many chances make people think the rules don't apply to them. I'm actually shocked she hasn't killed anyone yet. Look, everyone has tough times, but that's not an excuse to drive drunk 10 times. Just imagine how many times she did it and didn't get caught. So what do you guys think? Does she still deserve treatment, or should she finally face some real prison time? Personally, I think 1 year for each charge sounds fair. 10 DUIs. 10 years.
But you know, the things that I had to deal with within myself from when I was a little girl, those are things that you don't go to prison, even in their programs there, that you don't talk about. It's just, you just don't. And I'm asking you, please do not send me back to prison. I want to move forward. I have moved forward in my life. And this year that I've been in jail has given me more time to think and know that I'm definitely headed in the right direction. I have a sponsor. I attend AA at home. I had moved on with my life as far as I could with my sobriety. I mean, I knew this charge was out there. And I think I made some really good choices with my mid-county AA friends. They've helped me a lot. And I am open to anything. I will abide by all the rules, and do anything that's asked of me. And I think, no, I know now that I'm responsible and capable of taking care of my business and my life.
Thank you. So, Miss Welch, Miss Malfino probably said it yet best, and I get this often, and they don't envy my position, and this is the worst part of my job. But I worked hard to get here, and it's my job. Part of my job, it's several things, and it's to look at, obviously defendants and giving chances and things like that. But it also is about making our community safe. And I have to look back. This is your 10th DWI. It's not your 5th. It's not your 8th. It's the 10th. And while I understand the trauma that you went through, that you've been to safety 3 times. You've been given opportunities on probation where they were revoked. You've had opportunities while you were on parole to do what you have done now. And while I appreciate what you've done, and I think that's great, and my goal isn't to, to stop any improvement, but I can't, in my opinion, in good faith, go home tonight, look myself in the mirror and say I gave somebody on their 10th DWI that your last sentence was for 15 years in prison. The one before that was for 10. The one before that, you've gone to another 10 year back in 2009. I mean, this goes back to the 90s. You got a 10-year sentence in 2011. While you're on parole for that one, you get another one. So they give you 15 years and you get out and you're on parole and you do it again. The fact is, we're just lucky that you haven't killed someone in our community 9 times over, being given opportunities. I just can't do it. I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. I'm going to find and your plea of true to the prior offense. I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of driving while intoxicated. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 18 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. You're going to be handed a trial court certification that shows this was not, well, I guess there was an agreement because the waiver of the enhancement, which could have been a 25 to life, as Mr. Gertz said. So I'm going to hand you the certification that shows this was an agreement. You've waived your right to appeal. I'm also handing you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession, because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. You should read the written admonishment I provide you. If you have any questions about that, you can talk to Mr. Gertz. And Miss Welch, I take no pleasure in this. This is extremely difficult for me. I understand to some extent addiction, and I understand that you are on a better path. However, there have been plenty of opportunities in the past where you were on a better path and you got back out and you got back on our roads again. And so good luck to you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Gertz and Ms. Malfino. Court will be adjourned.
The judge's sentence was honestly the only thing that made sense here. You can tell she feels bad, but after 10 chances, words don't mean much anymore. The judge even said she tried to help her before, but she just went right back to doing the same thing. 10 DUIs is insane. Most people learn after 1. I think the 18-year sentence might sound harsh, but when you think about how many lives she could have destroyed, it's actually fair. And imagine being the judge. Having to go home after giving that kind of sentence, it's got to be tough. But it's part of the job. What do you guys think? Was 18 years fair, or would you have gone lighter if you were the judge? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more courtroom stories.